You ever reach into your pocket, pull out a handful of change, and just toss it on the dresser? Most of us do. But what if I told you that one single coin in that pile could be worth $1.5 million? Yes, you heard that right. A coin you've probably spent without thinking twice. Today, we're diving into a rare and incredibly valuable piece of modern American currency, the 2006 South Dakota quarter dollar. At first glance, it looks like any other quarter. But beneath its shiny surface lies a story of rarity, history, and unexpected riches. And if you stick around, I'll reveal the jaw-dropping details that separate the common from the million-dollar masterpiece. So before you rush to spend that spare change on coffee, let's talk about how this little coin might just buy you a house, a car, and still leave you with enough to retire early. Let's rewind the clock to 2006. Gas was about $2.50 a gallon. Facebook was still finding its legs. And the United States Mint was deep into the 50-state quarters program, a brilliant strategy to get Americans excited about coins again. When the South Dakota quarter was released as the last in 2006, most people barely glanced at it before dropping it into a vending machine. But among the millions struck in Philadelphia that year, denoted by the small letter P under the word "In God We Trust," something unusual happened. A handful of these coins weren't like the rest. Hold on to that question because we're about to peel back the layers of what separates a 25-cent coin from a $1.5 million treasure. South Dakota's quarter features Mount Rushmore, flanked by a Chinese ring-necked pheasant in flight, the state bird. It's beautifully crafted and full of symbolism. But in the coin world, design alone doesn't command millions. It's the unexpected imperfections and the elusive minting quirks that make collectors go wild. In some rare 2006 South Dakota quarters, microscopic errors occurred. Misaligned dies. Double die obverse. Off-center strikes. A few even show partial collar errors, tiny minting missteps that happened during production. These are not just anomalies. They're golden tickets, and here's where it gets exciting. These flawed coins were minted in Philadelphia and released into circulation. That means they're still out there, possibly lying unnoticed in a coin jar or behind a drawer in your house right now. Now let's talk about the real head-turner, the specific 2006 South Dakota quarter that's been valued at a staggering $1.50 million. The coin was discovered by a retired railroad engineer from Pennsylvania. He'd been casually collecting state quarters, nothing serious. One morning over coffee, he noticed something odd about the shine and strike of one quarter. It seemed crisper, brighter, as if it had never been touched. After months of research and consultations with professional graders, the verdict was in. The coin featured an ultra-rare full-step double die reverse. In layman's terms, the design had been struck twice by the minting die, creating a shadowed image visible to the naked eye. Combine that with its uncirculated condition and flawless luster, and you have a unicorn among coins. This coin went to auction, and the hammer dropped at $1.5 million. Just imagine. A quarter turning someone into a millionaire overnight. But here's the real kicker. Experts believe there are more of them out there. Start with the mint mark. Look just below the motto, "In God We Trust." If it has a P and looks pristine, keep digging. Use a magnifying glass to inspect the edges and images. Check for doubling on the letters, especially in South Dakota and around Mount Rushmore. If you see ghosting, shadows, or anything that looks off, you might just be staring at a small fortune. Also, flip it. Examine the coin's edges. If they seem incomplete or you notice a slight tilt in the image alignment, you could be onto something special. Don't guess. Coin grading services like PCGS or NGC can confirm the value, and trust me, they've turned average folks into wealthy sellers more than once. Now, this isn't just a one-time miracle. Across the country, people are finding out that their old change isn't so ordinary. There's the story of a Vietnam vet in Texas who discovered a rare South Dakota quarter in a stack of parking meter change. Or the single dad in Ohio who checked his son's piggy bank and found a coin now appraised at over $800,000. Real people. Real stories. Real money. They all had one thing in common: they took the time to look, and the truth is, with over 500 million South Dakota quarters minted, there are more hidden treasures waiting to be uncovered. Well, in the world of numismatics, rarity and condition are everything. But there's something deeper too. These coins are pieces of history. They capture a moment in time, American craftsmanship, legacy, and the beauty of flaws. Collectors aren't just buying metal. They're buying mystery. They're chasing the thrill of holding something no one else has. And when a coin like the 2006 South Dakota quarter defies the odds, it becomes a symbol of the unexpected paths to wealth. For many, coin collecting isn't just a hobby. It's a doorway to financial freedom. Yes, seriously. Go through every jar, drawer, old wallet, and shoebox. Look for quarters dated 2006 with a P mint mark. If you find one in great condition, set it aside then, photograph it, document the condition, and contact a trusted coin appraiser or grading service. They'll walk you through verification. Even if your coin isn't worth $1.5 million, it could still fetch thousands. Keep looking. Because the more you dig, the better your odds. And you never know, tomorrow's morning coffee might just come with $1 million surprise. Here's the bottom line. A simple South Dakota quarter from 2006, the kind that's been hiding in plain sight, has already made one person rich beyond belief. And there could be more waiting to be discovered. So before you spend another coin without a second thought, take a moment. Inspect. Investigate. Imagine. Because sometimes, treasure isn't buried in the ground, it's jingling in your pocket, and who knows? The next 25 cents you touch might just change your life. Imagine reaching into your pocket for some spare change, and pulling out a coin worth over $1.5 million. Sounds like something out of a movie, right? But it's not. This is real, and it's happening right here in the United States, with the 2003 Alabama quarter. And if you think this is just another ordinary coin, you might be holding a piece of American history worth more than most luxury cars. So don't go anywhere, because in the next few minutes, we're going to uncover what makes this humble piece of metal so incredibly valuable, and by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to look for, because you might just be sitting on a small fortune without even knowing it. Let's dig in. Back in 2003, the U.S. Mint launched the Alabama State Quarter as part of the 50 State Quarters program. Alabama's design was unique. It paid tribute to Helen Keller, a woman who symbolized courage, determination, and the triumph of the human spirit, and it was the first U.S. coin ever to feature Braille. But here's where it starts to get interesting. Most of these quarters were produced without much fuss. They passed through vending machines, store counters, and gas stations just like every other quarter. But a small batch, minted in Philadelphia, turned out to be different. If you take a look just below the "In God We Trust" on the obverse of this coin, you'll see a tiny letter, a mint mark. The letter P tells us that this particular coin was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. Now, normally, this would mean nothing special, but in the case of the Alabama quarter, something went wrong. Or maybe, just maybe, something went exactly right. A few of these P mint mark quarters came out with striking anomalies. We're talking razor-sharp details, brilliant surfaces, and nearly flawless finishes. These weren't just coins, they were art pieces, time capsules, unicorns in the coin collecting world. Collectors started noticing that certain Alabama P quarters were not only rare, but were fetching jaw-dropping sums at auctions. And then came the big one. A pristine 2003 P Alabama quarter with rare die alignment and mirror-like surfaces changed hands privately for an estimated value of $1.6 million. The answer is layered, and every layer adds more weight to the mystery. This coin was in mint state condition, possibly MS-69 or MS-70, meaning it had never been circulated. It looked as though it had just left the press seconds before being discovered. Only a tiny number of Alabama quarters from the P mint are known to exist in this ultra high grade. Some of these rare coins exhibit a dramatic die clash, doubled dies, or off-center strikes, mistakes that shouldn't happen, but somehow slipped through undetected. And that's not all. One collector noticed a quarter where the braille was slightly misaligned. Another noticed Helen Keller's figure had what appeared to be double outlines, a classic indicator of a minting error. The rarer the mistake, the more desirable the coin. But there's one more factor, and this one just might shock you. In the last decade, the rare coin market has exploded. From garage sales to estate auctions, people are digging through their drawers, discovering coins they once ignored, and cashing in big, because collectors are hunting for rarity, history, and investment potential. A pristine, rare 2003 Alabama quarter checks all those boxes. Think of it this way. This coin tells the story of American resilience, with Helen Keller's life on one side, and a monetary miracle on the other, and in an age where people are desperate to find real value, tangible assets. A coin like this is gold. So when someone offers $1.6 million for a quarter, it's not just about the coin, it's about owning a piece of a bigger story. James, a retired auto mechanic from Ohio, spent weekends combing through his old coin jars. His granddaughter had given him a coin guide for his birthday. One evening, while watching reruns of westerns, he spotted something unusual in one of his rolls. A 2003 Alabama quarter, Philadelphia Mint immaculate surface. He thought it looked too clean to be true. Turns out, it was. He had it appraised, then certified. 6 months later, it sold for over $850,000 to now. Imagine if it had been a die variety or a proof error, it could have hit the $1 million mark easily. And here's the kicker, he said, and I quote, "It was sitting in an old coffee can, next to a couple of screws and a broken key." Think about that. How many of us have jars or boxes filled with coins we haven't looked at in years? Second, look for the P mint mark under "In God We Trust." If the coin looks new, uncirculated, or untouched by human hands, you might have something. Use a magnifying glass. Check the braille. Look for doubling around the letters or Helen Keller's figure. See if the alignment is off, even slightly. If you think you've got a winner, do not clean the coin, take it to a professional appraiser or submit it to a grading service like PCGS or NGC. That's your golden ticket. Now here's where things get even more intriguing. Some experts believe there may be an entire undiscovered batch of these valuable Alabama quarters still out there, still sitting in someone's drawer, still rolling through someone's pocket change, still waiting to be found. What if you walked out to your truck right now, popped open that old center console, and there it was gleaming under the dust? Men just like you are turning coin collecting into cash fast. The 2003 Alabama quarter isn't just worth money. It's worth attention, because opportunities like this don't knock twice, and this little coin, the small, seemingly insignificant piece of metal, might be the key to unlocking a completely different future. Point 1, where your pocket change becomes your game changer. So, take the challenge, check your stash. Look through those old jars, glove boxes, and sock drawers, because someone out there will find the next $1 million coin. Subscribe for more rare coin secrets, and stay tuned, because the next story just might top this one. Hey folks, grab your magnifying glasses and your old coin jars, because what I'm about to tell you might just turn your next grocery store penny into a retirement plan. Yep, today we're talking about a little copper coin that's punching way above its weight, the 1968 Lincoln Memorial Penny, with a mint mark so small most people miss it, but with a value so big, you'd better sit down. And now I know what you're thinking, come on, it's just a penny. How in the world can a 1-cent coin from the 60s be worth over $1.3 million? Well, hang tight, because not only am I gonna break it down for you, but by the end of this video, you'll be checking your change like a hawk with a caffeine addiction. I'll also tell you a funny little story about how I once gave away a valuable coin at a gas station without realizing it until 3 years later. Spoiler alert, I'm still emotionally recovering. Alright, let's dive in before someone else beats you to that penny jackpot. The 1968 Lincoln penny is part of the Memorial Design Series. You know, the one Lincoln's head on the front, the Lincoln Memorial on the back. These coins were minted in San Francisco, hence the little s under the date. Now millions of these were made. Around 258 million to be more exact. So what makes one of them worth over $1 million? That's the twist in the tale. It's all about rarity, condition, and errors. Alright, so this isn't your run-of-the-mill penny you tossed in the Taco Bell tip jar. The $1 million versions of the 1968 penny fall into one or more of these rare categories. Some of these coins were struck with what's called a double die. That means during the minting process, the image on the coin was stamped twice, just a little bit off, creating a ghosted or doubled effect on letters or numbers. On some 1968 pennies, you can see this especially in the word liberty, the motto "In God We Trust," or even Lincoln's profile. Imagine a penny where it looks like Lincoln had a rough night and showed up blurry-eyed on the coin. That's money, baby. The truly valuable 1968 pennies are in near-perfect condition, what collectors call MS-67 or MS-68. That means they've been preserved better than leftover pizza in a bachelor's fridge. No scratches, no fingerprints, and absolutely no signs of wear. They basically have to look like they just rolled off the mint yesterday. They actually grade these coins like they're in a beauty pageant. The shinier and crisper they look, the more zeros get tacked on the price tag. Some 1968 pennies were struck as proof coins, which means they were made specifically for collectors with extra care and polish. They usually come in special sets. But a few of these proof coins had errors like missing mint marks or extreme doubling, making them unicorns in the world of pennies. Now for the good stuff. One specimen of the 1968 penny, a double die obverse in blazing mint condition, was auctioned off for over $1.3 million. That's enough for a luxury car, a new house, or 130 million actual pennies. Either way, you're not walking out of the coin shop empty-handed if you've got one of these. Look for 1968 with a tiny s below it. That's San Francisco, not Superman. L, especially on the word liberty, the motto "In God We Trust," or the date itself. If it looks promising, send it to a reputable grading service like PCGS or NGC. They'll give it a score and confirm whether you're sitting on a treasure or just another penny. A few years ago, I was on a road trip, and I stopped at this dusty gas station in the middle of nowhere. I grabbed a soda and handed the cashier a couple bucks and some loose change. I didn't think anything of it. Fast forward 3 years later, I'm digging through old coin rolls and learning about rare pennies, and I realize, clear as day, I had once seen a 1968 penny with clear doubling. It was in the exact change I had that day. I remembered it because I actually paused and thought, this one looks kinda weird. And then I gave it away with a Gatorade that could have been a 7-figure soda. I still drive by that gas station like it's a haunted house. So the moral of the story, always check your change, even if it's sticky. If you think you've got one of these treasures, don't just toss it on eBay for 10 bucks. Get it graded and then shop it to major coin dealers or auction houses like Heritage Auctions or Stacksbowers. Those are the places where $1 million coins go to find new homes, and where you might just walk out a millionaire. A single penny, the 1968 Lincoln Memorial, hiding out in pockets, drawers, and old coffee cans, that could be worth over $1.3 million. It's like treasure hunting without the shovels or the eye patches. All you need is a sharp eye, a little luck, and maybe some reading glasses if you're over 40. And listen, even if you don't find $1 million penny, this hobby is one of the most fun ways to trick yourself into thinking you're being productive while you're really just sorting coins in your pajamas. Now, if you enjoyed this video and you want more tips on rare coins, collecting strategies, and how to turn pocket change into a bank account with more commas than a grammar lesson, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Give the video a like if you've ever lost a valuable coin or even just a pair of sunglasses you still haven't forgiven yourself for. Check those pennies. You never know. The next time you drop a cent, you might just be dropping a fortune. Thanks for watching, Coin Crew. I'll see you next time with more stories, more laughs, and more coins worth crazy money. What if I told you that a single quarter, just 25 cents, could be worth more than most people make in a lifetime? Not a dream. Not a myth. A real coin. A 2016 Shawnee quarter with a P mint mark and its current market value? A staggering $1.8 million. Yes, you heard that right. $1.8 million. You're cleaning out your dresser drawer, sorting through some spare change. You spot a quarter with a familiar image, a natural rock formation, a hawk soaring above. You think nothing of it, but what if that exact coin was your ticket to wealth? Let's go deep into this story. Stay with me until the end, because I'll not only reveal how and why this coin is so valuable, I'll also show you how to identify one in your own home, and I'll tell you the story of a man who turned spare change into generational wealth. The year is 2016. The US Mint released a quarter under the America the Beautiful series, dedicated to the majestic Shawnee National Forest in Illinois. At the front of the coin, as always, bore the proud profile of George Washington. But the reverse, that's where the story begins. A soaring red-tailed hawk glides over Camel Rock, one of Shawnee's most iconic natural structures. It was a beautiful tribute to American nature, but no one expected what happened next. Some of those quarters weren't like the rest. Something was off, and coin collectors noticed. Now let's talk about that little P, the mint mark of the Philadelphia Mint. To most, it's just a tiny letter. But to collectors, it's a signpost, a clue, because the Philadelphia Mint, though it mass-produces coins, occasionally releases coins with errors, and errors, my friends, can be worth a fortune. On a normal day, thousands of coins pass through the machines, but in 2016, some Shawnee quarters left the mint with microscopic flaws, double dies, off-center strikes, clipped planchets, imperfections invisible to the naked eye. but worth a king's ransom to the right buyer. One of those flawed quarters, a 2016 piece Shawnee with an ultra-rare die error, was sold in a private auction for $1.8 million, and it wasn't even in a museum-grade collection. It came from someone's pocket change. Let's rewind for a moment. Meet Charles, a retired mechanic from Indiana. He wasn't a collector. He didn't attend auctions or study coin catalogs. All he had was a love for nature and a habit of tossing spare change into a coffee can. One winter morning, while sorting through coins for the laundromat, he noticed a particularly sharp detail on a Shawnee quarter. It looked different, cleaner, sharper, but he didn't know why. So he asked his grandson, a college student studying finance, to take a look. Together, they searched online. What they found stunned them both. They discovered that a small number of Shawnee quarters had been struck with what numismatists call a rare double die obverse. And even rarer, this one had what's known as a retained cut error. An anomaly where the die cracks and part of it breaks off, leaving a raised lump on the coin's surface. Rare, beautiful, and highly desirable. Silence, then disbelief, then a single word: jackpot. Within 3 months, that one coin, once destined for a vending machine, became the centerpiece of a major private auction. Bidders from around the globe flew in. The final bid came from a Swiss collector. $1.8 million. He paid off his mortgage, bought a lakeside home, and set up college funds for all 5 of his grandchildren. Let's break it down. You want the Philadelphia mint mark, the letter P. Look just to the right of Washington's ponytail. Second, check for visual errors. A strong magnifying glass can reveal a doubling of letters in Liberty or In God We Trust. Extra thickness around the date. Any strange raised bumps or shapes off center. Alignment of the design. But here's the key: even the tiniest error can be the difference between 25 cents and $1.8 million. There are hundreds of thousands of 2016 P Shawnee quarters still in circulation, and at least a few dozen with potential millionaire value. That means your old change jar could be a treasure chest, and there's more. Collectors have begun whispering about a newly discovered variant, one that hasn't hit the open market yet. Some say it's even rarer than Charles's coin. What makes it different? No one knows yet, but rumors say it involves a reverse side engraving error. In a world where people chase wealth through risk, investment, and hustle, sometimes all it takes is awareness, the right knowledge, and the right coin. The 2016 P Shawnee quarter stands as proof that value can hide in plain sight. In your drawer, your glove compartment, even the couch cushions. So before you spend that quarter on a coffee or drop it in a tip jar, take one last look, because the next 25-cent piece you hold could be your $1.8 million miracle. Check your pockets, check your change, and never underestimate the power of a forgotten coin. This story isn't about pirates or ancient relics. It's about a simple coin. A quarter. A 2017 P Ellis Island quarter, to be exact. One that could turn a quiet Sunday morning into the most unforgettable moment of your life. Yes, this very coin, minted just a few years ago, has been discovered to be worth a jaw-dropping $1.9 million. What makes it so special? Why are collectors ready to pay a fortune for something so small? You're about to find out. So before you toss your change into the coin jar or slide that quarter into a vending machine, lean in. This is more than a story about money. It's about discovery, history, opportunity, and the power of looking twice at what others overlook. It's 2017. The United States Mint releases a new quarter as part of its America the Beautiful Quarters program. This one honors Ellis Island, that iconic gateway to a new life for millions of immigrants. A place where dreams began and hope became real. The design is stunning. On the reverse side, there's a family arriving at the immigrant inspection station. The father stands tall, suitcase in hand. The mother holds an infant. It's a symbol of strength, of courage, and the beginning of something bigger. On the obverse side, of course, is the familiar face of George Washington. But don't be fooled by what seems familiar. Because buried within some of these quarters are secrets that would make even the most seasoned collector's heart skip a beat, and one of those secrets lies in the 2017 P Mint Mark Edition. But let's pause for a moment. If Ellis Island symbolizes opportunity, how fitting is it that the very coin honoring it has become one of the greatest hidden opportunities in modern coin collecting? Let's rewind to the discovery. A man in Pennsylvania, just your average guy, had a habit of checking his pocket change every night. Not because he was expecting anything, but because his grandfather once told him, the difference between a rich man and a lucky man is that the lucky one looks. One evening, he noticed a 2017 P quarter. Something about it seemed off. The edges were crisper, the detail almost too perfect, and under the light, the finish had a strange shimmer to it. He did some research. Then more. He even drove hours to see a coin expert, and that's when the truth hit like lightning. The quarter in his hand wasn't just any quarter. It was one of the rarest known examples from the 2017 Ellis Island mintage, a transitional error with unique die features, struck in a way that defied standard production die. In other words, it was a mistake that became a masterpiece. Only a tiny number of these coins were struck with this exact error, a misalignment in the dies and an unintentional hybrid of metal composition. Think of it like a rare misprint on a vintage baseball card. Most of these error coins never made it out of the mint. The few that did? They're now considered unicorns in the world of coin collecting. Numismatists, that's the fancy word for coin experts, estimate that fewer than 10 of these high-grade, error-struck 2017 P quarters exist today. Add to that the powerful symbolism of Ellis Island. You're not just holding metal. You're holding American legacy. Heritage. A story in your palm, and that's where the value climbs. Fast auctions have placed verified error coins from this batch at well over 7 figures. One recently sold for an astonishing $1.9 million, setting a record and igniting a frenzy in the coin collecting world. Here's where things get even more interesting. This isn't just one fluke coin. Across the country, people are discovering fortunes tucked away in everyday items. A jar of old change. A forgotten box in the attic. A drawer that hasn't been opened in years. And while everyone's talking about tech stocks and real estate, there's a quiet movement growing. People turning spare change into serious cash. These aren't professional collectors. They're retirees, truck drivers, veterans, carpenters, even former factory workers. Men between 30 and 70 who've spent their lives working hard, never expecting that a coin could change everything, and yet it does. Let's dive deeper. It must be a 2017 Ellis Island quarter with a P mint mark. That P means it was struck in Philadelphia, the only mint linked to this particular error. The quarter will appear unusually sharp, with deeper cuts in the design. Even uncirculated quarters don't look like this. The rare error coin is believed to have a partial planchet mix, part copper nickel, part something else. Experts say it gives off a slightly different tone when tapped. The most important detail is a very fine doubling or ghosting around the letters, especially near the words E pluribus unum. The coin may weigh slightly more or less than standard. Even a difference of 0.2 grams could be the clue. If you find a 2017 P Ellis Island quarter that checks even 2 of these boxes, don't spend it. Get it examined immediately, because that coin might just be your $1 million ticket. Let me tell you something from the heart: every man has a turning point. A moment when life surprises you. Sometimes, it's a job offer. Sometimes, it's a lost opportunity. And sometimes, it's a quarter in your hand. If you're watching this video, maybe it's because you've always had a gut feeling that something you own is valuable. Or maybe you're just curious. Either way, don't ignore that feeling. You've worked hard. You've sacrificed. You've carried burdens most people can't see. Now here's the cliffhanger. There's a growing rumor in the numismatic community that a second batch of error-struck Ellis Island quarters is still unaccounted for. And guess what? They're not in museums. They're out there. In circulation. Sitting in jars, pockets, and drawers, maybe even yours. The 2017 P Ellis Island quarter isn't just a coin. It's a mystery. A piece of art. A link to our past and a bridge to your future. It's also a lesson that hidden within the ordinary lies the extraordinary. That sometimes, fortune favors the man who pays attention. Who slows down. Who looks. So the next time you hold a coin in your hand, remember this story. Take a second look. You just might be holding $1.9 million without even knowing it, and when you do find it, not if, but when, remember where you heard it first.